Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I want to tell you a story about Venice, and in particular the island of Murano, an island where a lot of great artisans and artists settled, creating what has become a myth and still is. Among those artists was one which I'm particularly fond of, and his name is Vittorio Zecchin. Vittorio Zecchin, born in 1878, was an amazing artist, painter, decorative arts, and of course, glass, the art of his home island. I have here a piece of his work, a glass that he designed in 1932, and it was exhibited at the Biennale here in Venice. It's a piece of design of the time. So he was a designer, not just an artist. And I can tell you, drinking out of this, it's a real pleasure. Almost a century later, another artist was born in Murano under the name of Luca Nichetto. From Murano, he followed his heart and his Swedish wife, and is now in Stockholm. So our conversation today is happening between Venice, where I am, and Stockholm, where Luca is. Luca, welcome to this conversation and to the world of Rubelli. And well, if I were to ask you in a few words to describe yourself, how would you do it?
Thank you, Nicolò, for this amazing introduction and how I can describe myself. Since I was a kid, I was always very curious. So I'm a very curious person. And I become a designer without to really decide to be a designer. So it was sort of coincidence of many things, and especially probably the reason is because I'm born in Murano. So for me to see a drawing that become an object was quite normal. My grandfather was working in the Fornace in Murano. He was a glass master. My mother was decorating glass, and 99% of my friends was involved in the glass industry. So I like to define myself a Venetian designer more than Italian designer, because I'm very proud of my origin. And Venice.
I agree with this. I fully agree.
And also because I think in a global world, to define your origin, make a signature that explain even better why you are doing the things in the way that you are doing. And sometimes I like, there is some journalists that define my job and my approach like the Marco Polo of design, because I really like to explore also other culture and working in also in different countries, because I think it's a kind of enrichment in a way to have the opportunity to compare your heritage with different heritage. You can build a new know-how that you can use in many different ways. So my vision about design the last few years become very open. So in the beginning, I was a very classical Italian designer with a focus in the furniture, especially. And since 5 years ago, I started really to open up and being also, in that sense, even more curious to work in things that I never done before. Mm. I still maintain the two offices, the two studios, one in Porto Marghera in Venice, let's say.
And near the Rubelli headquarters, just a couple of hundred meters away.
Yes, we're a neighbor. And then I have a studio where I am now in Stockholm. And so I have two teams. And it's not easy to manage two different studios, especially because
technology allows you to do more, as we do now.
Yeah, of course. That is also something very interesting, because in the beginning of this, in a way, tragedy, the working remotely and having this kind of conversation was something that I got used to in a way. So it was not a big change in that sense. Of course, I miss traveling and I miss to come back to Venice, especially. But soon I will be there.
Good. I look forward to that. So yes, local in your origin, but very global, because other than living in Sweden, your project happened in China and the United States, really all over the planet.
Yes, it's quite interesting if you look the design, let's call the scene of the design in Italy. Everything is very Milano-centric somehow. So all of us, doesn't matter how much history we have or not, we are in the province of this kind of kingdom.
True.
So in the beginning of my career, where I was, going to Milan, I had the feeling, I had always this feeling to be a foreign, moving in another country. So when I start thinking in that way and seeing that there was also other company in different countries, that was very interesting. I said, but if I feel a foreign and I'm still in my own country, why I cannot use this as a opportunity to being a real foreign and go in the other country and to discover different things. So I start to really looking, of course, Milan as a reference for many reasons, but not only seeing the Italian master or the heritage that that our generation need to carry on as a very, something that put us a lot of pressure. I start to look that in a different way and thinking how I can find more lightness in what I'm doing, without every time to be compared with such a figures that in a way was monopolized the design scene. So, and that was also to find my own space, not only that was not only my curiosity, was also, if we can say, a kind of business choice to have really an opportunity to express myself differently. And then I think this gave me the opportunity to adapt also my design and my output and my creativity to understand better not only a sort of needs, but to be curious to understand what is other needs, especially in the moment that we are living, and we're still living in a global world. I think was interesting to say something, looking the origin, so looking the local, and trying to create this bridge to somehow share who you are from where you come with other situation. And I found this exercise very interesting and helped me, I think, a lot to define the idea of what Nichetto Studio are doing.
This is also one of the values of the part of the philosophy of Rubelli. We are local in that being very Venetian, but the world is our world. So this, I think, this way of thinking is also one of the reasons why I liked to start to do this cooperation with you. So what do textiles mean to you?
Well, means a lot. Means a lot because I think textile define, sometime I remember in the beginning of my career, textile, especially when I was working with upholstery product, was probably the last things that as a designer you pick to define your object. And then working and having more experience, you understand that it's not only a skin or a cosmetics that you put on the product, but it's a very important part how the entire project takes shape. So if you decide to use a velvet or a leather or a cotton, the feeling of the object or a wool is completely different. So for me, textile is a plus, still one of the things that if as a designer and you as a company, we are able to teach to the users to appreciate the quality of the material, they understand that there is a level on what you own that is completely different, and the comfort and the feeling, but also the status is totally changing. So for me, fabrics is really a mix of craftsmanship, sensation, patience, quality. So it's something that it's like a perfect, let's say, meal with the best ingredient that you can put on that.
Very good. Luca designed Carnevale for Rubelli. What do you tell us about this collection? And why
Well,
Carnevale?
you know, I think for us as Venetian, Carnevale or Carnival is probably, when I was a teenager, was really the moment of it was the most important moment of the year. There was no Christmas. There was no. You look for Carnival to have fun, to go on the street with your friend, to change your appearance. There was a lot of things, and was a party all the time, but not only a party just to have fun. It was also a moment to socialize with your city in a way, and embrace people that was coming from abroad, to make them feeling what the vibes of that moment means for Venetian. So being Venetian and working for a Venetian company, I want to celebrate this specific moment. And that I think is very interesting, to do something very that have a very fun part, a very, colors that is enjoying in a way, especially considering also the moment that we are living. I think to offer this to the customer is a very special gift, because we give to them not only a draw, but we give to them part of our history and our interpretation of that connect with our city through the skills of Rubelli and through my creativity. So for me, it's my first collection of textile, first of all. So it's also a milestone somehow and I'm very grateful for the opportunity that you gave to us. And if I need to think about a partner to do this first collection, for sure, Rubelli was the dream, and this become true thanks to you. And so I'm very happy about that.
As you can see, Luca, other than being very talented, is also a wonderful person. So it has been very enjoyable to work with him. And the patterns in the collection are coriandoli, the famous confetti of the carnival. And then we have festa, which explains why I mentioned also Vittorio Zecchini, because Vittorio Zecchini in 1934 designed for my great-grandfather a pattern with stars. And what happens many years later? What do you want to tell you about these two designs?
Well, the first one, the coriandoli, I think is very. As a designer, mostly a designer of product. For me, I was really observing and thinking about something that can inspire me about my own city. And during Carnival, when the kids and the parents and everyone is with this confetti, with this coriandoli, the floor, I mean, the ground of Venice become multicolor. And sometimes it's also annoying because you need to clean every time. But it's also beautiful to see these kind of vibes that move on normally gray stone. And we really want to take that kind of inspiration, trying to see how this physical element somehow very relate to a specific moment of the year in Venice can become something else. And so it was for us interesting also to see how scaling the coriandolo, for example, in a bigger scale, exactly like this one, or to have the small one, like almost scale 101, change totally the exactly the perception of the textile. So it's if you don't know and you look from a sort of distance, looks almost a terrazzo or a floor or little stones. In this case, through also your skills, looks almost that there is piece of different fabric that is stitched or embroidery on top of another. So it was a very interesting exercise that we did together, also in the development of the collection, and was amazing because when I was seeing the sample that you was creating for us, I mean, everything was beautiful. So the collection could be much bigger. It was very difficult to decide also which the direction to go. And for Festa, I mean, the credit is coming mostly from your side because you have this idea to create this connection between me and the king. And you show me the original. I still remember when I came to your office in Marghera, you show me the original drawings and you prepared some copies for me. And the design was, of course, related to the interpretation of the king about the stars, and was much bigger originally. And but for me, it was also very interesting to connect and to scale down and to work with the colors to create a different kind of pattern and having really and somehow also this connection with Carnival, because for me this Carnival or Redentore, because there is another very important moment for us as a Venetian. Redentore for the fireworks. And the stars really remember to me that, but also the stars with these bright colors or this palette represent the fun moment, no, the color, the light, the party that there is during the carnival and the mask, and also was a big honor, you know, working somehow and trying to respect. That is the most difficult things without to destroy the work of such a great artist, trying to reinterpret it to make this more contemporary for now. And I really was a beautiful process and I really enjoyed.
Grazie, I'm very proud of this new connection, this capsule collection, the second that Rubelli develops, and with the Venetian, and the worldwide Venetian, a new Marco Polo in a way. And at this point, I can only wish all those who will receive it to make good use and a lot of use of it. And at this point, I can wish buon Carnevale. That's what we have to say. Buon Carnevale. And thank you for listening to our conversation. Grazie Luca.
Grazie mille, thank you.
Ciao. Grazie.
Ciao.